Hello and welcome back to UAE TV. Please like and subscribe to channel to get further videos directly in your inbox. General Dynamics F-16 Fighting Falcon variants. A large number of variants of the General Dynamics F-16 Fighting Falcon have been produced by General Dynamics, Lockheed Martin, and various licensed manufacturers. The details of the F-16 variants, along with major modification programs and derivative designs significantly influenced by the F-16, are described. YF-16. U.S. Air Force YF-16 and YF-17, 1982. Two single-seat YF-16 prototypes were built for the lightweight fighter LWF competition. The first YF-16 was rolled out at Fort Worth on December 13, 1973 and accidentally accomplished its first flight on January 21, 1974, followed by its scheduled first flight on February 2, 1974. The second prototype first flew on March 9, 1974. Both YF-16 prototypes participated in the flyoff against the Northrop YF-17 prototypes, with the F-16 winning the Air Combat Fighter (ACF) competition, as the LWF program had been renamed. F-16 FSD. In January 1975, the Air Force ordered 8 full-scale development FSD F-16s, 6 single-seat F-16A and a pair of 2-seat F-16B, for test and evaluation. The first FSD F-16A flew on December 8, 1976 and the first FSD F-16B on August 8, 1977. Over the years, these aircraft have been used as test demonstrators for a variety of research, development and modification study programs. Main production variants: F-16A/B. The F-16A, single-seat, and F-16B, two-seat, were initially equipped with the Westinghouse/APG-66 pulse Doppler radar, Pratt & Whitney F100 PW200 turbofan, rated at 14,670 lbf, 64.9 kN, and 23,830 lbf, 106.0 kN, with afterburner. The USAF bought 375 F-16As and 125 F-16Bs, with delivery completed in March 1985. F-16A/B Block January 5, 2010. Early blocks, Block January 5, 2010, featured relatively minor differences between each. Most were later upgraded to the Block 10 configuration in the early 1980s. There were 94 Block 1, 197 Block 5, and 312 Block 10 aircraft produced. Block 1 is the early production model with the radome painted black. It was discovered that the Block 1 aircraft's black radome became an obvious visual identification cue at long range, so the color of the radome was changed to the low visibility gray for Block 5 aircraft. During the operation of F-16 Block 1, it was discovered that rainwater could accumulate in certain spots within the fuselage, so drainage holes were drilled in the forward fuselage and tail fin area for Block 5 aircraft. The Soviet Union significantly reduced the export of titanium during the late 1970s, so the manufacturers of the F-16 used aluminum instead wherever practical. New methods were also used. The corrugated aluminum is bolted to the epoxy surface for Block 10 aircraft, replacing the old method of aluminum honeycomb being glued to the epoxy surface used in earlier aircraft. F-16A/B Block 15. The first major change in the F-16, the Block 15 aircraft featured larger horizontal stabilizers, the addition of 2 hardpoints to the chin inlet, an improved APG-66 V2 radar, and increased capacity for the underwing hardpoints. The Block 15 also gained the Have-Quick 2 secure UHF radio. To counter the additional weight of the new hardpoints, the horizontal stabilizers were enlarged by 30%. Block 15 is the most numerous variant of the F-16, with 983 produced. The last one was delivered in 1996 to Thailand. F-16A/B Block 20. Block 20 added some F-16C/D Block 50-52 capabilities, improved in/APG-66V3 radar with added CW mode to guide two types of BVR missiles, AIM-7M Sparrow missiles and AIM-120M ROM, carriage of AGM-84 Harpoon missiles, as well as the long-range navigation and targeting pod. The Block 20 computers are significantly improved in comparison to that of the earlier versions that later integrated into post-1997 Block 50-52, and also getting color MFD. The Republic of China, Taiwan, received 150 F-16A/B Block 20 aircraft. F-16C/D, F-16C, single seat, and F-16D, two-seat. F-16C/D Block 25. The Block 25 F-16C first flew in June 1984 and entered USAF service in September. The aircraft version is fitted with the Westinghouse APG-68 radar and have improved precision night attack capability. Block 25 introduced a very substantial improvement in cockpit avionics, including improved fire control and stores management computers, and upfront controls, UFC, integrated data control panel, data transfer equipment, multifunction displays, radar altimeter, and many other changes. Block 25s were first delivered with the Pratt & Whitney F100PW200 engine and later upgraded to the Pratt & Whitney F100PW220E. With 209 Block 25C models and 35D models delivered, today the USAF's Air National Guard and Air Education and Training Command are the only remaining users of this variant. One F-16C, nicknamed the Lethal Lady, had flown over 7,000 hours by April 2008. F-16C/D Block 30 seconds. This was the first block of F-16s affected by the Alternative Fighter Engine project, under which aircraft were fitted with the traditional Pratt & Whitney engines or, for the first time, the General Electric F-110 GE100. From this point on, blocks ending in 0, for example, Block 30, are powered by GE, and blocks ending in 2, for example, Block 32, are fitted with Pratt & Whitney engines. The first Block 30 F-16 entered service in 1987. Major differences include the carriage of the AGM-45 Shrike, AGM-88 Harm, and the AIM-120 missiles, which entered service in September 1991. From Block 30D, aircraft were fitted with larger engine air intakes, called a modular common inlet duct, for the increased thrust GE engine. Since the Block 32 retained the Pratt & Whitney F100 engine, the smaller, normal shock inlet, was retained for those aircraft. A total of 733 aircraft were produced and delivered to 6 countries. The Block 32H/J aircraft assigned to the USAF Thunderbird Flight Demonstration Squadron were built in 1986 and 1987 and are some of the oldest operational F-16s in the Air Force. The Air National Guard procured many upgrades for their fleet of aging Block 30/32s, including the addition of improved inertial guidance systems, improved electronic warfare suite, and /ALQ-213, and upgrades to carry the Northrop Grumman Lightning targeting pod. The Standard Inertial Navigation Unit, INU, was first changed to a ring laser gyro, and later upgraded again to an embedded GPS/I.N.S. EEGI, system which combines a global positioning system, GPS, receiver with an inertial navigation system, INS. The IGI provided the capability to use Joint Direct Attack Munition, JDAM, and other GPS-aided munitions, see Block 50 list below. This capability, in combination with the Lightning targeting pod, greatly enhanced the capabilities of this aircraft. The sum of these modifications to the baseline Block 30 is commonly known as the F-16C++ version. F-16C/D Block 4042. Entering service in 1988, the Block 4042 is the improved all-day/all-weather strike variant equipped with long-run pod, also unofficially designated the F-16CG/DG. The night capability gave rise to the name Night Falcons. This block features strengthened and lengthened undercarriage for long-run pods, an improved radar, and a GPS receiver. From 2002, The Block 4042 increased the weapon range available to the aircraft, including JDAM, AGM-154 Joint Standoff Weapon, JSOW, Wind Corrected Munitions Dispenser, WCMD, and the enhanced EPU-27 Paveway Bunker Buster. Also incorporated in this block was the addition of cockpit lighting systems compatible with Aviator's Night Vision Imaging System, NVIS, equipment. The USAF's Time Compliance Technical Order, TCTO, that added the night vision, NVIS-compatible systems was completed in 2004. A total of 615 Block 4042 aircraft were delivered to 5 countries. F-16C/D Block 5052. The first Block 50 F-16 was delivered in late 1991. The aircraft is equipped with improved GPS/I.N.S, and can carry a further batch of advanced missiles, the AGM-88 HARM missile, JDAM, JSO and WCMD. Block 50 aircraft are powered by the F-110GE-129, while the Block 52 jets use the F-100PW-229. F-16C/D Block 5052+. This variant's main differences are the addition of support for conformal fuel tanks, CFTs, a dorsal spine compartment, the APG-68V9 radar, an onboard oxygen generation system, a BOGS, and a JHMCS helmet. The CFTs are mounted above the wing, on both sides of the fuselage, and are easily removable. They provide 440 US gallons, 1,665 liters, or approximately 3,000 pounds, 1,400 kilograms, of additional fuel, allowing increased range or time on station and free up hardpoints for weapons instead of underwing fuel tanks. All 2-seat plus aircraft have the enlarged Avionics dorsal spine compartment, which is located behind the cockpit and extends to the tail. It adds 30 cubic feet, 850 liters, to the airframe for more avionics with only small increases in weight and drag. Poland took delivery of its first F-16C Block 52+ aircraft on September 15, 2006. The Poland Peace Sky program includes 36 F-16Cs and 12 F-16Ds. All 48 aircraft were delivered in 2008. The Hellenic Air Force took delivery of its first F-16C Block 52+ aircraft on May 2, 2003. The Hellenic Air Force is the first air force in the world to operate this F-16 type. The total Greek order was 60 F-16C/D. The Israeli F-16I and its Singapore equivalent variant are based on the Block 52+ aircraft. In March 2010, it was announced that the Egyptian Air Force would purchase 20 Block 52 aircraft, 16 F-16Cs and 4 F-16Ds, the first of which arrived for testing in April 2012. Under the Peace Onyx 3 Csip program, 165 of Turkish Air Force's F-16s have been upgraded to Block 50+ standards by Turkish Aerospace Industries. The Pakistan Air Force bought 12 F-16C and 6 F-16D Block 52+. F-16E/F, F-16E, single-seat, and F-16F, two-seat. Originally, the single-seat version of the General Dynamics F-16XL was to have been designated F-16E, with the twin-seat variant designated F-16F. This was sidelined by the Air Force's selection of the competing F-15E Strike Eagle and the Enhanced Tactical Fighter Flyoff in 1984. The Block 60 designation had also previously been set aside in 1989 for the A-16, but this model was dropped. The F-16E/F designation now belongs to a version developed especially for the United Arab Emirates Air Force, and is sometimes unofficially called the Desert Falcon. F-16E/F Block 60. The Block 60 was designed for the United Arab Emirates Air Force, YF. Based on the F-16C/D Block 5052, it features improved radar, avionics and conformal fuel tanks. At one time, this version was incorrectly thought to have been designated F-16U. A major difference from previous blocks is the Northrop Grumman/APG-80 Active Electronically Scanned Array, AESA, radar, which gives the airplane the capability to simultaneously track and destroy ground and air threats. The Block 60's General Electric F-110GE132 engine is a development of the -129 model and is rated at 32,500 lbf, 144 kilonewtons. The electronic warfare system is supposed to be quite advanced and includes the Northrop Grumman Falcon Edge Integrated Electronic Warfare Suite (RWR) together with the N/ALQ-165 self-protection jammer. Falcon Edge, which was developed by Northrop Grumman specifically for the Block 60, is capable of showing not only the bearing of any threat but also the range. The Block 60 allows the carriage of all Block 50-52 compatible weaponry as well as a IM-132 Advanced Short-Range Air-to-Air Missile, ASRAM, and the AGM-84E Standoff Land Attack Missile, SLAM. The CFTs provide an additional 450 US gallon, 2,045 liters, of fuel, allowing increased range or time on station. This has the added benefit of freeing up hardpoints for weapons that otherwise would have been occupied by underwing fuel tanks. The MIL-STD 1553 databus is replaced by MIL-STD 1773 fiber optic databus, which offers a 1,000 times increase in data handling capability. UAE funded the entire $3 billion Block 60 development costs, and in exchange will receive royalties if any of the Block 60 aircraft are sold to other nations. According to press reports quoted by Flight International, this is the first time the US has sold a better aircraft, F-16, overseas than its own forces fly. 15, like the F-35, the Block 60 F-16 has a built-in flare/laser targeting system rather than using a dedicated pod that would occupy a hardpoint, increase drag in RCS. In 2014 the UAE requested an upgrade to Block 61, along with the purchase of 30 more aircraft at that level. F-16 Volts Block 7072. On February 15, 2012, Lockheed Martin unveiled a new version of their F-16 at the 2012 Singapore Air Show. The F-16 Volts will feature enhancements including an N/APG-83 Active Electronically Scanned Array, AESA, radar, an upgraded mission computer and architecture, and improvements to the cockpit, all capabilities identified by the U.S. Air Force and several international customers for future improvements. The new variant is dubbed the Viper, which is intended to better operate with fifth-generation fighters, and should not be confused with Lockheed's F-16 Block 7072 Super Viper, which was offered to India for the medium multi-role combat aircraft competition and showcased at the 2009 Aero India Air Show. The new F-16 Volts will become the new F-16 baseline, said George Standridge, Lockheed Martin Aeronautics Vice President of Business Development. On October 16, 2015, the F-16 Volts flew for the first time with an APG-83 Scalable Agile Beam Radar ESA, a new center pedestal display, a modernized mission computer, automatic ground collision avoidance system, and many other upgrades. This can be fitted on new production F-16s or retrofitted on existing ones. The first of these were for Taiwan F-16A/B Block 20s. The upgrade of its 144 aircraft fleet started in January 2017 and is expected to complete by 2023. In September 2017, the U.S. State Department approved a foreign military sale to Bahrain for 19 new F-16 Volts and upgrade its 20 existing F-16 Block 40 to F-16 Volts. In October 2017, the U.S. approved the sale of 123 upgrade kits to Greece to bring their existing F-16C and D fighters up to the new F-16 Volts standard. On April 28, 2018, Greece decided to upgrade 85 aircraft. South Korea also plans to upgrade 134 of its F-16 fleet to F-16 Volts by November 2025. In April 2018, the U.S. State Department approved a foreign military sale to Slovakia for 14 new F-16Vs, pending approval from U.S. Congress. The Defense Ministry of Slovakia announced on July 11, 2018 that it intends to purchase 14 F-16 Block 70 aircraft from Lockheed Martin to replace its aging fleet of Mikoyan MiG-29s. The package, which includes armament and training, is worth €1.58 billion, $1.8 billion, and is Slovakia's largest military purchase in modern history. Defense Minister Peter Gajdos signed the contract with Lockheed Martin representative Anna Vugovsky in a press conference at the capital Bratislava on December 12, 2018, after the government approved the purchase. In June 2018, Bahrain finalized its order for 16 brand new Block 70 F-16 volts. In December 2018, Bulgaria chose 8 F-16Vs as replacements for MiG-29s. On July 10, 2019, Bulgaria approved the purchase of 8 F-16 volts Block 70-72 for $1.25 billion. On February 27, 2019, Taiwan requested to buy 66 new F-16 volts Block 70-72 airframes for an approximate $13 million as replacement for their aging Mirage 2000 and F-5 fighters. On August 16, 2019, the U.S. State Department submitted the package to Congress. Total package worth $8 million for 66 F-16 Block 70 and other spare parts. On December 13, 2019, the U.S. and Taiwan finalized the F-16 volts order. On August 14, 2020, Taiwan formally signed an agreement to buy 66 F-16 volts jets built by Lockheed Martin. On March 25, 2019, the U.S. Department of Defense announced approvals for 2 sets of foreign military sales of F-16 volts hardware to Morocco, one for upgrading its existing 23 F-16s to the F-16 volts configuration, valued at $985.2 million, and the second for a batch of 25 new Block 72 airframes, 29 new engines, a package of precision-guided munitions, and training valued at $3.787 billion.
Major modification variants. F-16A/B Block 15 ADF. The F-16 Air Defense Fighter, ADF, was a special variant of the Block 15 optimized for the United States Air National Guard's fighter interception mission. Begun in 1989, 270 airframes were modified. Avionics were upgraded, including the addition of an identification friend or foe (IFF) interrogator with bird-slicing IFF antennas, and a spotlight fitted forward and below the cockpit, for nighttime identification. This was the only U.S. version equipped with the AIM-7 Sparrow air-to-air missile. Beginning in 1994, these aircraft began to be replaced by newer F-16Z variants. By 2005, only the North Dakota ANG was flying this variant, with these last examples retired by 2007. F-16A/B Block 15 ACU. Beginning in January 1988, all Block 15 F-16A/B were delivered with an Operational Capability Upgrade, OCU. The Block 15 ACU aircraft incorporate the wide-angle HUD that was first introduced on the F-16C/D Block 25, more reliable F-100 PW220 turbofans, updated defensive systems, the ability to fire the AGM-65 Maverick air-to-ground missile, and the AGM-119 Penguin Mk.3 anti-shipping missile developed by the Norwegian company Kongsberg, and provisions for the AIM-120 MRAM. Many foreign customers upgraded their aircraft to the F-16A/B Block 15 ACU standard. F-16M/BM Block 20 MLU. In 1989, a 2-year study began regarding possible midlife upgrades for the USAF's and European partner air forces, EPs, F-16A/Bs. The resulting F-16 midlife update, MLU, package was designed to upgrade the cockpit and avionics to the equivalent of that on the F-16C/D Block 5052, add the ability to employ radar-guided air-to-air missiles, and to generally enhance the operational performance and improve the reliability, supportability and maintainability of the aircraft. Aircraft receiving this set of updates are designated F-16M or F-16BM. Development began in May 1991 and continued until 1997. However, the USAF withdrew from the MLU program in 1992, although it did procure the modular mission computer for its Block 5052 aircraft. The first of 5 prototype conversions flew on April 28, 1995, and installation of production kits began in January 1997. The original plans called for the production of 553 kits, 110 for Belgium, 63 for Denmark, 172 for the Netherlands, 57 for Norway, and 130 for the USAF. However, final orders amounted to only 325 kits, 72 for Belgium, 61 for Denmark, 136 for the Netherlands, and 56 for Norway. The EPS redesignated the F-16A/B aircraft receiving the MLU as F-16M/BM, respectively. Portugal later joined the program, and the first of 20 aircraft was redelivered on June 26, 2003, with another 20 going through the update in country at this time. In recent years, Chile, Jordan, and Pakistan have purchased surplus Dutch and Belgian F-16M/BM for their air forces. The development of new software and hardware modifications continues under the MLU program. The M3 software tape was installed in parallel with the Falcon Star structural upgrade to bring the F-16M/BM to the standards of the USAF's Common Configuration Implementation Program, CCIP. A total of 296 M3 kits, 72 for Belgium, 59 for Denmark, 57 for Norway, and 108 for the Netherlands, were ordered for delivery from 2002 to 2007. Installation is anticipated to be completed in 2010. A M4 tape has also been developed that adds the ability to use additional weapons and the Pantera targeting pod. Norway began conducting flying combat operations in Afghanistan with these upgraded aircraft in 2008. An M5 tape is in development that will enable employment of a wider array of the latest smart weapons, and the first aircraft upgraded with it are due to be delivered in 2009. In 2015, tape M7 was implemented. F-16C/D Block 30 F-16N F-16N. The U.S. Navy acquired 22 modified Block 30 F-16Cs for use as adversary assets for dissimilar air combat training, DACT. 4 of these were TF-16N two-seaters. These aircraft were delivered in 1987 to 1988. Fighter Squadron 126, VF-126, and the Navy Fighter Weapons School, NFWS or Top Gun, operated them at NAS Miramar, California on the West Coast. East Coast adversary training squadrons were Fighter Squadron 43, VF-43, at NAS Oceana, Virginia, and Fighter Squadron 45, VF-45, at NAS Key West, Florida. Each squadron had 5 F-16N and 1 TF-16N, with the exception of Top Gun, which had 6 and 1, respectively. Due to the high stress of constant combat training, the wings of these aircraft began to crack, and the Navy announced their retirement in 1994. By 1995, all but one of these aircraft had been sent to the 309th Aerospace Maintenance and Regeneration Group, AMARG, for preservation and storage. 1 F-16N was sent to the National Museum of Naval Aviation at NAS Pensacola, Florida as a museum article. As adversary aircraft, the Navy's F-16Ns were notable for their colorful appearance. Most Navy F-16N aircraft were painted in a 3-tone blue-gray ghost scheme. Top Gun had some of the more colorful ones, a 3-colored desert scheme, a light blue one, and a green splinter camouflage version with Marine Corps markings. VF-126 also had a unique blue example. In 2002, the Navy began to receive 14 F-16A and B models from the Aerospace Maintenance and Regeneration Center, AMARC, that were originally intended for Pakistan before being embargoed. These aircraft, which are not designated F-16N TF-16N, are operated by the Naval Strike and Air Warfare Center (NSAC). Top Gun, for adversary training and like their F-16N predecessors, are painted in exotic schemes. F-16CJ/DJ Block 50D/52D. An unknown number of Block 50-52 aircraft have been delivered to the USAF modified to perform the suppression of enemy air defenses (SEAD) mission, replacing the F-4G Wild Weasel aircraft. These were unofficially designated F-16CJ/DJ. Capable of launching both the AGM-88 high-speed anti-radiation missile, HARM, and AGM-45 Shrike anti-radiation missiles, the F-16CJ/DJ are equipped with a Lockheed Martin and /AUS 35 volts PAVE Penny laser spot tracker and the Texas Instruments and /ASQ 213 harm targeting system, HTS, with the HTS pod mounted on the port intake hardpoint in place of the Lantern navigation pod. The first F-16CJ, serial number 91-0360, was delivered on May 7, 1993. F-16C/D Block 52M. In 2005, the Greek government ordered 30 more F-16C/D, 20 single-seat and 10 double-seat. These aircraft are called F-16C/D Block 52 Plus Advanced, but are known in the Hellenic Air Force as F-16 Block 52M, due to improved computing power for Mission Computer MMC. The differences between the normal Block 52 Plus and Block 52 Plus Advanced are that the advanced version has a Link 16 communication system, more powerful mission control computer, an extra multifunction display with a movable map navigation, advanced debriefing system, and the capability of carrying the Recce reconnaissance pod. They also feature major upgrades by Lockheed Martin and Hellenic Aerospace Industry. The first aircraft were delivered to Hellenic Air Force in May 2009, and they are flying with the 335 Squadron Tiger in Araxos Air Base. F-16I Sufa. The F-16I is a two-seat variant of the Block 52 developed for the Israeli Defense Force, Air Force, IDF/AF. Israel issued a requirement in September 1997 and selected the F-16 in preference to the F-15I in July 1999. An initial Peace Marble V contract was signed on January 14, 2000 with a follow-on contract signed on December 19, 2001, for a total procurement of 102 aircraft. The F-16I, which is called Sufa Storm, by the IDF/AF, first flew on December 23, 2003, and deliveries to the IDF/AF began on February 19, 2004. The F-16I has an estimated unit cost of approximately $70 million, 2006. One major deviation of the F-16I from the Block 52 is that approximately 50% of the avionics were replaced by Israeli-developed avionics, such as the Israeli aerial towed decoy replacing the AIL-50 and autonomous aerial combat maneuvering instrumentation, which enables training exercises to be conducted without dependence on ground instrumentation. Elbit Systems produced the aircraft's helmet-mounted sight, head-up display, HUD, mission and presentation computers, and digital map display. Furthermore, the F-16 can employ Rafael's Python 5 infrared-guided air-to-air missile, and often uses Israel Aerospace Industries, IAIS removable conformal fuel tanks, CFT, for extended range. Key American source systems include the F-100 PW229 turbofan engine, which offers commonality with the IDF/AF's F-15is, and the APG-68B9 radar. Special Mission Variants. A-16. The A-16 began as a late 1980s GD project to develop a close air support (CAS) version of the basic F-16 by adding armor and strengthening the wings for a heavier weapons load, including a 30mm cannon and 7.62mm minigun pods. Two F-16A Block 15 aircraft were modified to this configuration. Envisioned as a successor to the A-10, the type was to have received the Block 60 designation. However, the A-16 never went into production due to a November 26, 1990 congressional directive to the U.S. Air Force mandating that it retain two wings of A-10s. FA-16. A second outcome of that directive was a decision by the Air Force that, instead of upgrading the A-10, it would seek to retrofit 400 Block 30-32 F-16s as with new equipment to perform both CAS and battlefield air interdiction (BAI) missions. The new systems for this FA-16 Block 30 included a Digital Terrain Mapping System 51, and Global Positioning System, GPS, integration for improved navigational and weapons delivery accuracy, as well as an Automatic Target Handoff System, ATHS, to allow direct digital target/mission data exchange between the pilot and ground units. This approach, however, was dropped in January 1992 in favor of equipping Block 40-42 F-16C/Ds with Lantern pods. Other CAS initiatives. In 1991, 24 F-16A/B Block 10 aircraft belonging to the 174th TFW, a New York Air National Guard unit that had transitioned from the A-10 in 1988, were armed with a 30mm GAU-13/A 4-barrel derivative of the 7-barrel GAU-8/A cannon used by the A-10A. This weapon was carried in a General Electric GPU-5/A paved claw gun pod on the centerline station and was supplied with 353 rounds of ammunition. There were also plans to convert F-16CS to this configuration and to incorporate the A-10s and /OS 35V paved penny laser spot tracker. The vibration from the gun when firing proved so severe as to make both aiming and flying the aircraft difficult, and trials were suspended after 2 days. Although the 174th aircraft were employed for CAS during Operation Desert Storm, they did not use the gun pods in action, and the Block 10 F-16 was phased out after the war. F-16AR. About 24 F-16s of the Royal Netherlands Air Force (ROF) were supplied with indigenous UD-Delft Orpheus low-altitude tactical reconnaissance pods transferred from its retiring RF-104G. Designated F-16AR, the first example flew on January 27, 1983, and they entered service with the RIL's 306 Squadron in October 1984. The aircraft were common with the regular F-16s. However, they were equipped with an extra panel in the cockpit to control the center line-mounted pod. Under the MLU program, a more standardized interface was introduced so every aircraft could be used to operate the Orpheus pod or any other pod with a standardized interface. Beginning in 1995, the Belgian Air Force replaced its own Mirage 5BR reconnaissance aircraft with at least a dozen F-16AR equipped with loaned Orpheus pods and Vinton cameras from the Mirages. These were replaced with more capable Per-Utsen modular recce pods from 1996-98. The F-16AR remained primarily combat aircraft with a secondary reconnaissance role. F-16 recce. The first reconnaissance variant was a USAF F-16B experimentally configured in 1986 with a centerline multi-sensor bathtub-style pod. The USAF decided in 1988 to replace the aging RF-4C Phantom fleet with F-16C Block 30s fitted with the Control Data Corporation's Advanced Tactical Airborne Reconnaissance System, ATARS, centerline pod, which could carry a variety of sensors. Problems with the ATARS program, however, led to the USAF's departure in June 1993. During the mid-1990s, the U.S. Air Force experimented with a series of centerline recce pod designs, beginning with a prototype pod, the Electro-Optical 1 EO1 pod. This was followed by 4 Richmond recce pods, which saw service in the Balkans. The USAF finally settled on what would become the definitive ASD-11 Theater Airborne Reconnaissance System (TARS). The first F-16 flight with a prototype TARS flew on August 26, 1995, and on September 27, 1996 the USAF placed its first production order for the pods. Block 30s and Block 25s of 5 Air National Guard (ANG) squadrons have received the system since mid-1998. The USAF, however, does not designate them RF-16s. RF-16A/C. The designation RF-16A is used, though, by the Royal Danish Air Force. In early 1994, 10 Danish F-16A were redesignated as RF-16A tactical recce aircraft, replacing the RF-35 Drakens withdrawn at the end of 1993. As a temporary measure, they were originally fitted with the Drakens optical cameras and electro-optical (EO) sensors repackaged in a Per-Utsen Red Baron recce pod, which were replaced a few years later by Per-Utsen's Modular Reconnaissance Pod (MRP). Major upgrade programs added. F-16 Csip. In 1980, General Dynamics, the USAF's F-16 System Program Office, SPO, and the EPG partners initiated a long-term multinational staged improvement program, MSIP, to evolve new capabilities for the F-16, mitigate risks during technology development, and ensure its currency against a changing threat environment. The F-16 Falcon Century Program, a survey and evaluation of new technologies and new capabilities that began in 1982, was also relied upon to identify new concepts for integration onto the F-16 through the MSIP derivative development effort. Altogether, the MSIP process permitted quicker introduction of new capabilities, at lower costs, and with reduced risks compared to traditional standalone system enhancement and modernization programs. The first stage, MSIP-I, began in February 1980 and it introduced the new technologies that define the Block 15 aircraft. Fundamentally, MSIP-I improvements were focused on reducing the cost of retrofitting future systems. These included structural and wiring provisions for a wide field of view raster HUD, multifunction displays, MFD, advanced fire control computer and central weapons interface unit, integrated communication/navigation/identification, CNI, system, beyond visual range, BVR, air-to-air missiles, electro-optical and target acquisition pods, and internal electronic countermeasures, ECM, systems, and increased capacity environmental control, and electrical power systems. Delivery of the first USAF MZIP Block 15 aircraft occurred in November 1981, and work on the first EPG MZIP aircraft began in May 1982. ZIP-2, begun in May 1981, led to the F-16C/D Block 25/30/32. For the Block 25, it basically added the systems which the MZIP provisions had enabled. The first MZIP-2 F-16C Block 25 was delivered in July 1984. The Block 30/32 takes advantage of the alternative fighter engine program that offered a choice between two engines for the F-16, the General Electric F-110G100, Block 30, as well as the newly upgraded Pratt & Whitney F-100 PW220, Block 32. To take full advantage of the higher thrust GE engine, a larger, modular air inlet duct was fitted on the Block 30s. ZIP-2 capabilities introduced on the Block 30/32 also included the ability to target multiple aircraft with the MRAM, range, resolution and signal processor improvements to the APG-68 radar, a ring laser gyroscope, ALQ-213 electronic warfare system, added cooling air capacity for the more powerful avionics suite, and employment of the AGM-45 Shrike anti-radiation missiles. The first Block 30 was delivered in July 1986. ZIP-3 produced the Block 40/42/50/52. Initiated in June 1985, the first ZIP-3 Block 40 was delivered in December 1988, and the first Block 50 followed in October 1991. Introduced in the ZIP-3 Block 40/42 were Lontier navigation and targeting pods, along with the related diffractive optics HUD, the increased reliability APG-68 volts fire control radar, an aft seat HUD monitor in the F-16D, a 4-channel digital flight control system, GPS, advanced EU and identification friend or foe (IFF) equipment, and further structural strengthening to counter the aircraft's growing weight. The Block 50/52 received uprated F-100G129 and F-110 PW229 engines, an upgraded programmable display generator with digital terrain mapping, an improved APG-68 V5 fire control radar, an automatic target handoff system, an anti-jam radio, the AIL-47 chaff dispenser, and integration of AGM-88 HARM anti-radiation missiles. Although only 3 stages had been originally planned, GD proposed an ZIP-4 segment, marketed as Agile Falcon, but this was rejected by the Air Force in 1989. However, most of its elements, such as extensive avionics upgrades, color displays, an electronic warfare management system, EWMS, reconnaissance pods, AIM-9X Sidewinder infrared air-to-air missile integration, and helmet-mounted sights, have been introduced since that time. Pacer Loft 1 and 2. F-16A/B Blocks 1 and 5 were upgraded to the Block 10 standard under a 2-phase program, Pacer Loft I, 1982 to 1983, and Pacer Loft 2, 1983 to 1984. Falcon Up. Although the F-16 was originally designed with an expected service life of 8,000 flying hours, actual operational usage has proven to be more severe than expected, and this has been exacerbated by its growing weight as more systems and structure have been added to the aircraft. As a result, the anticipated average service life of the F-16A/B had fallen to only 5,500 flying hours. Beginning in the early 1990s, the Falcon Up program restored the 8,000-hour capability for the USAF's Block 40/42 aircraft. Pleased with the results, the USAF extended the Falcon Up effort to provide a Service Life Improvement Program, SLIP, for its Block 25 and 30/32 aircraft to ensure 6,000 flying hours, and a Service Life Extension Program, SLEP, for its F-16A/B aircraft to assure they're achieving 8,000 hours. Falcon Star. Falcon Star, Structural Augmentation Roadmap, is a program to repair and replace critical airframe components on all F-16A/B/C/D aircraft. Like Falcon Up, it is intended to ensure an 8,000-hour service life, but it is based on more recent operational usage statistics. The first redelivery occurred in February 2004, and in 2007 the USAF announced that it would upgrade 651 Block 40/42/50/52 F-16s. This is expected to extend the Falcon Star program, which began in 1999, through 2014. F-16 Ace. Israel Aircraft Industries developed an open architecture avionics suite upgrade for its F-16s known as the Avionics Capabilities Enhancement, ACE. It introduced the first full glass cockpit on an operational F-16, and featured an advanced fire control radar, an up-front control panel, UFCP, and an option for a wide-angle HUD or a helmet-mounted display. The first flight of an F-16B equipped with ACE was accomplished in May 2001. The ACE upgrade was not taken up by the Israeli Air Force, which ordered a second batch of the F-16I instead. IA offered ACE to Venezuela, but the U.S. government blocked it and stated that it would only permit elements of ACE, not the whole suite, to be exported. F-16 Falcon 1. Singapore Technologies Aerospace, ST Aero, has also developed a state-of-the-art, glass cockpit avionics suite as an alternative to the MLU offering. The Falcon 1 suite includes a wide-angle HUD that can display FLIR imagery, the Striker helmet-mounted display, HMD, a data link capability, and the FIAR Grifo radar. First revealed at the Farnborough Air Show on July 25, 2000, it has yet to find a customer. F-16 Csip. The Common Configuration Implementation Program, CCIP, is a $2 billion modernization effort that seeks to standardize all USAF Block 40/42/50/52 F-16s to a common Block 50/52-based avionics software and hardware configuration for simplified training and maintenance. Lockheed Martin received a contract to develop the first phase Csip configuration upgrade packages in June 1998. Kit production work started in 2000, and deliveries began in July 2001. 6970. In 2007, Korean Air was awarded a USAF contract for F-16 upgrades, which included both Csip, Falcon Star, and drop-in maintenance works. 100 USAF F-16s were to be upgraded and maintained by Korean Air under the contract. The upgrade program would extend the F-16's flying hours from 6,000 to 8,000 hours. The work would continue for 6 years until 2013. Phase 1 of the Csip added new modular mission computers, color cockpit display kits, and advanced IFF systems to domestically based Block 50/52 aircraft, and introduced the new Sniper Advanced Targeting Pod, ATP. The ability of the F-16 CJ/DJ to employ GPS-guided weapons was extended to the rest of the Block 50/52 fleet. Upgraded Phase 1 aircraft redeliveries began in January 2002. The second phase extended these upgrades to overseas-based Block 50/52 Falcons, and redeliveries ran from July 2003 to June 2007. Phase 2 also included the introduction of autonomous beyond visual range air intercept capability, the Link 16 data link, and the Joint Helmet-Mounted Queuing System JHMCS. The ongoing Phase 3 effort is focused on Block 40/42 F-16s. Development began in July 2003, and by June 2007 Lockheed Martin had completed roughly a quarter of the USAF's Block 40/42 fleet. Phase 3 incorporates the M3 Plus Operational Flight Program, OFP, which extends the capabilities of the first two phases to the Block 40/42 fleet and adds Multifunctional Information Distribution System, MIDS, the new NATO standard data link network. Development of an M4 Plus OFP began in late 2002. This update will allow use of the Raytheon AIM-9X on Block 40/42/50/52 aircraft. Northrop Grumman was awarded a contract in early 2004 to develop an M5 Plus upgrade kit to update the APG-68B5 radars on the Block 40/42/50/52 Falcons to the APG-68B9 standard. Upgrading of Block 40/42 aircraft began in 2007, and is to become operational on the Block 50/52 aircraft by 2010. An M6 Plus OFP is under consideration, and could include integration of the GBU-39 Small Diameter Bomb, SDB, on Csip aircraft, which is planned to begin in fiscal year 2012. Turkey became the first international customer for the Csip update with the signing of a $1.1 billion contract on April 26, 2005 to upgrade an initial 80 Block 40/50 and 37 Block 30 F-16C/Ds to an equivalent of the Phase 3/M5 Plus OFP standard under the Peace Onyx 3 Foreign Military Sales FMS program. This work will be performed by Turkish Aerospace Industries, TAI, and Turkey holds the option to upgrade the remainder of its 100 Block 40s, which could extend the program. As of 2019, All F-16s and TAF's inventory are upgraded to Block 5052 Plus and being fitted with indigenous ASIA radars. Cupid. The Combat Upgrade Plan Integration details. Cupid effort is an ongoing initiative to bring older U.S. Air National Guard and Air Force Reserve Command Block 25/30/32 F-16s closer to Block 5052 specifications. Cupid focuses on adding improved precision attack capabilities, night vision equipment, data links, carriage of the Lightning II infrared targeting pod, and laser and GPS-guided weapons. F-16C/D Barak 2020. In 2011-74, Israeli Air Force announced an upgrade program of its aging F-16C/D, Blocks 30 and 40, fleet, to make it valuable in 2020 and even later. The upgrade included installation of newer avionics, new wiring more, which made these Block 30-40 airframes closer to ISI, SUFA, model, in itself upgraded Block 52 plus F-16B. The upgrade program was completed in 2014. Technology demonstrators and test variants. Flight control variants. YF-16 CCV. The initial YF-16 prototype was reconfigured in December 1975 to serve as the USAF Flight Dynamics Laboratories Control Configured Vehicle (CCV) testbed. The CCV concept entails decoupling the aircraft's flight control surfaces so that they can operate independently. This approach enables unusual maneuvers such as being able to turn the airplane without banking it. The ability to maneuver in one plane without simultaneously moving in another was seen as offering novel tactical performance capabilities for a fighter. The CCV YF-16 design featured twin pivoting ventral fins mounted vertically underneath the air intake, and its triply redundant fly-by-wire (FBW) flight control system (FCS) was modified to permit use of flaperons on the wing's trailing edges, which would act in combination with an all-moving stabilator. The fuel system was redesigned to enable adjustment of the aircraft's center of gravity by transferring fuel from one tank to another. The CCV aircraft achieved its first flight on March 16, 1976. The flight test program ran until June 30, 1977, and was marred only by a hard landing on June 24, 1976 that delayed testing until repairs were effected. The CCV program was judged successful and led to a more ambitious follow-on effort in the form of the Advanced Fighter Technology Integration (AFTI) F-16. The first effort accomplished under the AFTI program was a paper study with 3 separate contractors, i.e., McDonnell Douglas, Fairchild Republic, Rockwell International, to design an advanced aircraft technology demonstrator using new concepts such as direct lift control, direct side force control, and drag modulation. HIMAT. A research derivative aircraft that had strong similarities to F-16 design was the HIMAT, for Highly Maneuverable Aircraft Technology. This joint USAF and NASA remotely piloted program used canards and other research technologies like synthetic vision with a lightweight composite structure that helped it to achieve high-performance goals such as sustaining an 8-gram turn. 2 vehicles were built by Rockwell International and were flown from 1979 to 1983, for a total of 26 B-52 drop test missions at Dryden. F-16 SFW. General Dynamics was one of several U.S. aircraft makers awarded a contract by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency (DARPA) in 1976 to develop proposals for an experimental forward swept wing test aircraft. GD's entry, the Swept Forward Wing, SFW, F-16, had a slightly lengthened fuselage to accommodate the larger, Advanced Composites wing. In January 1981, DARPA selected Grumman's entry, which became known as the X-29A. Although the SFW F-16 was not chosen, the X-29 incorporated some of the F-16's features, particularly its FBW flight control system and its undercarriage. F-16XL. Main article, General Dynamics F-16XL. The F-16XL featured a novel cranked aero type of delta wing with more than twice the area of the standard F-16 wing. Developed under a program originally known as the Supersonic Cruise and Maneuvering Program (SCAMP), the design was intended to offer low drag at high subsonic or supersonic speeds without compromising low-speed maneuverability. As a result, the F-16XL can cruise efficiently at supersonic speeds without use of an afterburner. In late 1980, The USAF agreed to provide GD with the third and fifth FSD F-16s for modification into single-seat and twin-seat F-16XL prototypes. To accommodate the larger wing, the aircraft was lengthened 56 in, 142 centimeters, by the addition of a 30-inch, 76 centimeters, plug in the forward fuselage and a 26-inch, 66 centimeters, section to the aft fuselage just behind the landing gear bulkhead. The rear fuselage was also canted up by 3 degrees to increase the angle of attack on takeoff and landing. The F-16XL could carry twice the payload of the F-16 on 27 hardpoints, and it had a 40% greater range due to an 82% increase in internal fuel carriage. The single-seat F-16XL first flew on July 3, 1982, followed by the two-seater on October 29, 1982. The F-16XL competed unsuccessfully with the F-15E Strike Eagle in the Enhanced Tactical Fighter (ETF) program. If it had won the competition, the production versions were to have been designated F-16E/F-81. Following the February 1984 selection announcement, both examples of the F-16XL were placed in flyable storage. In late 1988, the 2 prototypes were taken out of storage and turned over to the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, for use in a program designed to evaluate aerodynamic concepts for improving laminar airflow over the wing during sustained supersonic flight. From 1989-99, both aircraft were used by NASA for several experimental research programs, and in 2007, NASA was considering returning the single-seat F-16XL to operational status for further aeronautical research.
In F-16D/Vista/Math. Main article, General Dynamics F-16 Vista. In the late 1980s, General Dynamics and General Electric began exploring the application of thrust vector control, TVC, technology to the F-16 under the F-16 Multi-Axis Thrust Vectoring, MATV, program. Originally, the Israel Defense Forces/Air Force was going to supply an F-16D for this effort. However, the USAF, which had initially declined to support the program, changed its mind and took over the MAT project in 1991, and Israel withdrew from it the following year. The IDF was involved later when Ilan Ramon, who later became an astronaut on the ill-fated SDS-107, flew the MAT F-16 during flight testing at Edwards AFB. Meanwhile, General Dynamics had received a contract in 1988 to develop the Variable Stability in Flight Simulator Test Aircraft, VISTA. The F-16 VISTA effort was funded by the USAF, the US Navy, and NASA. Calspan, a subcontractor to GD, fitted a Block 30 F-16D belonging to Wright Labs with a center stick, in addition to the side stick controller, a new computer, and a digital flight control system that allowed it to imitate, to a degree, the performance of other aircraft. Redesignated in F-16D, its first flight in the Vista configuration occurred on April 9, 1992. In 1993, the variable stability computers and center stick were temporarily removed from the Vista for flight tests for the MAT program, under which the first use of thrust vectoring in flight was accomplished on 30th of July. Thrust vectoring was enabled through the use of the axisymmetric vectoring exhaust nozzle, AVEN. Following the conclusion of MAT testing in March 1994, the Vista variable stability computers were reinstalled. In 1996, a program was begun to fit the F-16D with a multidirectional thrust vectoring nozzle, but the program was cancelled due to lack of funding later that year. Although the F-16 Vista program was considered successful, thrust vectoring was not taken up with the F-16 by the U.S. Air Force. F-16U. The F-16U was one of several configurations proposed for the United Arab Emirates in the early 1990s. The F-16U was a two-seat aircraft that combined many features of the F-16XL and the delta wing of the F-16X. F-16x Falcon 2000. In 1993, Lockheed proposed development of a new version of the venerable F-16. This F-16x Falcon 2000 featured a delta wing based on that of the F-22, together with a fuselage stretch to accommodate the new wing. The F-16X would have 80% more internal fuel volume. The design also permitted conformal carriage of the AIM-120M ROM. Lockheed claimed the F-16x could be built for 2/3 the cost of the FA-18E/F Super Hornet. F-16 Advanced Fighter Technology Integration. In March 1980, General Dynamics began converting the 6th FSD F-16A to serve as the technology demonstrator aircraft for the Joint Flight Dynamics Laboratory NASA Advanced Fighter Technology Integration (AFTI) program. The AFTI F-16 built upon GD's experience with its YF-16 CCV program, and the AFTI F-16 even received the twin pivoting vertical ventral fins from the CCV aircraft, which were likewise installed under the air intake. The aircraft was also fitted with a narrow dorsal fairing along its spine to house additional electronics. Technologies introduced and tested on the AFTI F-16 include a full authority triplex digital flight control system, DFCS, a 6 degree of freedom automated maneuvering attack system, AMAS, a 256-word capacity voice-controlled interactive device, VCID, to control the Avionics suite, and a helmet-mounted target designation sight that permitted the forward-looking infrared, FLIR, device in the radar to be automatically slaved to the pilot's head movement. First flight of the AFTI F-16 occurred on July 10, 1982. The Air Force Association gave its 1987 Theodore von Karman Award for the most outstanding achievement in science and engineering to the AFTI F-16 team. The AFTI F-16 participated in numerous research and development programs. AFTI Phase I testing, 1981 to 1983, a 2-year effort focused on proving the DFCS system. AFTI Phase II testing, 1983 to 1987, evaluation of the wing root mounted FLIR and the AMAS system. Auto GCS development and testing, 1986 to 1992. In 1986, members of the AFTI flight test team, in collaboration with General Dynamics, adapted the automated maneuvering capabilities with new ground collision avoidance equations and modified visual and oral cues to develop an automated ground collision avoidance, Auto GCS, system. The system enabled pilots to set a mean sea level or above ground level floor for maneuvering, and included oral and visual warnings as the floor was approached. With no pilot action, the Auto GCS would take over and perform a 5G pull-up. This Auto GCS, which began flight testing in 1987, was intended to help reduce the incidence of controlled flight into terrain, CFIT, accidents. Later versions of the AFTI system included integration with a digital terrain database to provide 3-dimensional maneuvering capabilities. The flight test team that developed the system was awarded Patent No. US $4,924,401A in 1990 for this system. This AFTI Auto GCS became the basis for the ACUS system tested in 1994-96 and later incorporated into the F-16, F-22 and F-35. CAS/BAY, 1988 to 1992, a 5-phase evaluation program testing a variety of low-level close air support/battlefield air interdiction, CAS/BAY, techniques, including an automatic target handoff system, ATHS, which transferred target data from ground stations or other aircraft to the AFTI F-16, and off-axis weapons launch. Talon Sword Bravo, 1993 to 1994, demonstration of cooperative engagement techniques where the aircraft fires at a target based on targeting information data linked from a distant sensor. The weapon principally investigated was the AGM-88 high-speed anti-radiation missile, HARM. EGI, 1994 and 1997, testing of embedded GPS/I.N.S. EGI, navigation systems, including evaluation of the reliability of GPS in jamming environments. ICAS, 1994-96, testing of an automatic ground collision avoidance system, ICAS or Auto GCS, to help reduce the incidence of controlled flight into terrain, CFIT. Lessons learned from this program were further evolved on the F-16 GCS. JISD, 1997 to 2000, testing of the world's first all-electric flight control system under the Joint Strike Fighter Integrated Subsystem Technologies, JISD, program. F-16 GCS. Due to the unavailability of the FSD F-16 following the ACA's effort, a Block 25 F-16D was modified for continued investigation of Ground Collision Avoidance System, GCAS, technologies to reduce COT incidents. This joint effort by the USAF, Lockheed Martin, NASA and the Swedish Air Force was conducted during 1997-98. It has recently been reported that the U.S. Air Force had decided to upgrade the F-16, F-22 and F-35, all Lockheed Martin designed, fly-by-wire fighters, with the ACAS system. F-16 Agile Falcon. The F-16 Agile Falcon was a variant proposed by General Dynamics in 1984 that featured a 25% larger wing, upgraded engine, and some already planned ZIP-4 improvements for the basic F-16. Unsuccessfully offered as a low-cost alternative for the Advanced Tactical Fighter, ATF, competition, some of its capabilities were incorporated into the F-16C/D Block 40, and the Agile Falcon would serve as the basis for developing Japan's F-2 fighter. 92. F-16S. The F-16 Enhanced Strategic S was an extended-range variant of the F-16C/D fitted with conformal fuel tanks that granted it a 40% greater range over the standard Block 50. The F-16S also featured an internal FLIR system, which offered the capabilities of the Lontier navigation and targeting system without the drag associated with external pods. Unsuccessfully offered to Israel as an alternative to the F-15I Strike Eagle in late 1993, it was one of several configuration options offered to the United Arab Emirates that would ultimately lead to the development of the F-16E/F Block 60 for that nation. An F-16C Block 30 was modified to the S configuration to test the conformal tanks and simulated FLIR sensor turrets fitted above and below the nose of the aircraft. The F-16S first flew on November 5, 1994 and flight testing was completed in January 1995. F-16 Lone. The F-16 Low Observable Asymmetric Nozzle, LOAN, demonstrator was an F-16C fitted in late 1996 with a prototype nozzle with significantly reduced radar and infrared signatures and lowered maintenance requirements. It was tested in November 1996 to evaluate the technology for the Joint Strike Fighter, JSF, program. F-16 DCK-1. Manat, the Israeli Air Force's Flight Test Center, is known to operate a specially built Block 40 F-16D delivered in 1987 as a testbed aircraft designated CK-1. It is used by the IF for testing new flight configurations, weapon systems, and avionics. Engine variants. F-1679. In response to President Jimmy Carter's February 1977 directive to curtail arms proliferation by selling only reduced capability weapons to foreign countries, General Dynamics developed a modified export-oriented version of the F-16A/B designed for use with the outdated General Electric J79 turbojet engine. Northrop competed for this market with its F-20 Tiger Shark. Accommodating the J79G119 engine required modification of the F-16's inlet, the addition of steel heat shielding, a transfer gearbox, to connect the engine to the existing F-16 gearbox, and an 18-inch, 46 cm, stretch of the aft fuselage. First flight occurred on October 29, 1980. The total program cost to develop the F-16/J79 was $18 million, 1980, and the unit flyaway cost was projected to be about $8 million. South Korea, Pakistan and other nations were offered these fighters but rejected them, resulting in numerous exceptions being made to sell standard F-16s, with the later relaxation of the policy under President Carter in 1980 and its cancellation under President Ronald Reagan. No copies of either the F-1679 or the F-20 were ultimately sold. F-16-101. In February 1979, General Electric was awarded a $79.9 million, 1979, contract under the Joint USAF/Navy Derivative Fighter Engine, DFE, programmed to develop a variant of its F-101 turbofan engine, originally designed for the B-1A bomber, for use on the F-16, in lieu of the standard Pandu F-100, and the F-14A, in place of the Pandu TF-30. The first full-scale development, FSD F-16A, serial number 7520745, was fitted with the F-101X DFE engine and made its maiden flight on December 19, 1980. Although the F-101 performed better than the F-100, it was not adopted for use. However, data from testing the F-16-101 assisted in the development of the F-110 turbofan, for which the F-101 would serve as the core, and the F-110 would become an alternate engine for both the F-16 and F-14. Proposed and other variants. VOT Model 1600/1601/1602. Main article, VOT Model 1600. The VOT/General Dynamics Model 1600 was a navalized derivative of the General Dynamics F-16 Fighting Falcon designed for the United States Navy's Navy Air Combat Fighter, NACF, program. The Model 1600 lost to the Northrop/MC Donald Douglas FA-18 Hornet. F-16BR Block 62 Plus Super Viper. For the FX-2 fighter program for the Brazilian Air Force, Lockheed Martin offered the F-16BR Super Viper. The F-16BR is based on the F-16E/F Block 60 and features conformal fuel tanks, and /APG-80 ESA radar, GEF-110-132A engine with FSD controls, electronic warfare suite and infrared searching, IRSD, updated glass cockpit, and a helmet-mounted cueing system. F-16BR lost in the competition with JAS-39 Gripen E. F-16 inches Block 70-72 Super Viper. Lockheed Martin has proposed an advanced variant, the F-16 inches, as its candidate for India's 126 aircraft Indian Air Force Medium Multi-Role Combat Aircraft, MERCA, competition. According to Chuck Artymovich, the company's business development director for the program, the F-16 inches is the most advanced F-16 ever. Notable F-16 inches features include an APG-80 Active Electronically Scanned Array, AESA, radar, advanced electronic warfare suites, and an infrared search and track, IRSD, system. In addition, the F-16 inches RCS is reduced from 1.5 square meters to 0.1 square meters, in the same class as the F-18 Super Hornet, Rafale, and Eurofighter Typhoon. If selected as the winner of the competition, Lockheed Martin will supply the first 18 aircraft, and will set up an assembly line in India in collaboration with Indian partners for production of the remainder. The program is reportedly worth up to 550 billion rupees, $14 billion. The F-16 inches Super Viper was showcased in the Aero India, 2009. India initially sent the RFI for an F-16C/D Block 52 Plus configuration aircraft for the ongoing Indian MRCA competition to supply the Indian Air Force with 126 multi-role combat aircraft, to replace the Indian Air Force's fleet of MiG-21s. On January 17, 2008, Lockheed Martin offered a customized version of the F-16, the F-16 inches Super Viper for the Indian MERCA contract. The F-16 inches, which is similar to the F-16 Block 60, will be a 4.5 generation aircraft. Lockheed Martin has described the F-16 inches as the most advanced and capable F-16 ever. Based closely on the F-16E/F Block 60 as supplied to the UAE, the features on the F-16 inches include conformal fuel tanks, CFDs, and /APG-80 Active Electronically Scanned Array, AESA, radar, GEF-110-132A engine with 32,000 pounds, 143 kilonewtons, of thrust with FSD controls, electronic warfare suite and infrared searching, IRSD, advanced all-color glass cockpit with 3 large displays, and a helmet-mounted cueing system. Lockheed Martin's Vice President Business Development, India, Orville Prince has said that I can assure you, the Super Viper is much more advanced in all aspects than the Block 50-52 Plus F-16s being given to Pakistan. In September 2009, F-16 Super Viper completed a part of the field trials. Lockheed Martin officials stated that Phase I of field trials was over and the week-long training phase was in preparation for Phase II of field trials, which began 7th of September and lasted 2 weeks. Eventually, the F-16 Super Viper lost out to the French Dassault Rafale fighter. It was reported September 21, 2012 that the Indian Air Force would finalize a contract to purchase 126 French Rafale jet fighters that year, in one of 2012's largest armament purchases. The contract for the 126 Rafale twin-engine, Canard Delta Wing, multi-role combat aircraft is worth $20 billion, Indo-Asian News Service reported. In 2015, after the Rafale order was cut back to just 36 aircraft, Lockheed was offering India the exclusive opportunity to produce, operate and export F-16 Block 70 aircraft. In 2017, the F-16 lost in the competition with JAS-39 Gripen E, when Lockheed retired from production in India and decided to move its production line from Fort Worth, Texas, to Greenville, South Carolina. 113. As of 2017, Lockheed Martin has agreed to sign a letter of intent with the Indian defense firm Tata Advanced Systems Limited to manufacture the jets in India if the Indian government accepts their tender for India's request for a purchase of single-engine aircraft to replace its aging MiG fighters. The new production line can be utilized to supply jets to India as well as for exporting them overseas. 114. KF-16. Korean Aerospace Industries, KAI, produced 140 KF-16C/D Block 52 fighters under license from Lockheed Martin in the 1990s. The FA-18 Hornet had originally won the Korea Fighter Program, KFB, competition, but disputes over costs and accusations of bribery led the Korean government to withdraw the award and select the F-16 instead. Designated the KF-16, the first 12 aircraft were delivered to Republic of Korea Air Force, ROKOF, in December 1994. Almost 2,500 parts are changed from the original F-16C/D. Originally, the KF-16 was equipped with the F-100PW229 Improved Performance Engine, ASBJ Internal ECM, APG-68V7 radar, Lantern Targeting and Navigation System, MRAM, HARM, and SLAM anti-ship missile capabilities, and advanced IFF. JDAM's capability was added by ROKOF later on. ROKOF developed the software, successfully carried out 3 tests, and finished pilot training at the end of January 2011. The South Korean JDAMs are equipped with wing kits, which are absent from normal JDAMs, but not from the 2,000-pound JDAM Extended Range Kit, which is being developed by Boeing in South Korea. The South Korean F-16s can also employ Lignex 1's ALQ-200K radar jammer and other locally developed tactical ELINT and EO/I.R. targeting pods. In late 2011, Korea kicked off the contest for KF-16's midlife upgrade, which will incorporate, among others, a new ESA radar. The radar candidates are Northrop Grumman Scalable Agile Beam Radar, SABR, and Raytheon's Ranger, which won the contract. The variant to which the planes will be improved is reported to be Lockheed Martin's newly developed F-16 Volts. The KF-16 will also be integrated with stealth cruise missiles. The proposed budget for the avionics upgrades and weapons integration of 135 KF-16 planes is $1 billion. ROKOF had requested a separate upgrade of its 35 F-16 Block 32 in 2009, which would allow the upgraded planes to employ JDAM, MRAM, improved data modem, secure voice capabilities, test and support equipment, and other related training and logistics support. The estimated cost of the upgrade was $250 million. BAE won the contract for $1.1 billion. GF-16. Small numbers of each type of F-16A/B/Z are used for non-flying ground instruction of maintenance personnel. QF-16. The USAF plans to convert Block 15 F-16As, and Block 25, 30 F-16Cs into full-scale target drones under the F-16 Air Superiority Target, ASD, program. These ASD drones are used in Weapon System Evaluation Programs, WSEP, for assessing upgrades or replacements for air-to-air missiles, AM, and they are also useful for giving pilots the experience of a live shot and kill prior to entering combat. F-16s would replace the current F-4 drones, the last of which are expected to be expended around 2015. The Air Force's Air Armament Center hosted its first Industry Day for interested vendors at Eglin AFB, Florida on 16 July 19, 2007. The DoD awarded the nearly $70 million F-16 Full-Scale Aerial Target, FSAT, contract to Boeing on March 8, 2010, with the first delivery scheduled for 2014. On April 22, 2010, the first F-16 to be converted to an aerial target arrived at Boeing's facility at Cecil Field, Jacksonville, Florida. 6 F-16s will be modified during the development phase, as prototypes for engineering tests and evaluation. From 2014, up to 126 F-16 drones will be created. The prototype F-16 undertook its maiden flight in May 2012. In January 2013, the 576 Aerospace Maintenance and Regeneration Squadron refit team was due to begin modification work on the F-16 program. Davis-Monthan has 210 F-16 stocked for conversion. From that pool, the Air Force will draw airframes for its 126 planned F-16 drones. F-16C Block 30B SN 85-1569 was the first aircraft delivered in November 2012. On September 19, 2013, an empty F-16 jet tested by Boeing and U.S. Air Force. 2 U.S. Air Force pilots controlled the plane from the ground as it flew from Tyndall Air Force Base, Panama City, Florida. Boeing suggested that the innovation could ultimately be used to help train pilots, providing an adversary they could practice firing on. The jet, which had previously sat mothballed at an Arizona site for 15 years, flew at an altitude of 40,000 feet, 12.2 kilometers, and a speed of Mach 1.47. 1,119 miles per hour / 1,800 kilometers per hour. It carried out a series of maneuvers including a barrel roll and a split S, a move in which the aircraft turns upside down before making a half loop so that it flies the right way up in the opposite direction. This can be used in combat to evade missile lock-ons. The firm added that the flight attained 7 grams of acceleration but was capable of carrying out maneuvers at 9 grams. Something that might cause physical problems for a pilot. Boeing was awarded the contract on October 10, 2013 for low-rate initial production, LRIP, Lot 1 of 13 F-16s. A second award on May 20, 2014 covered production Lot 2, comprising a further 23 F-16s. On March 27, 2015, Boeing received a $24.46 million contract for 25 Lot 3 F-16s and 25's 4-year warranties of the F-16 drone peculiar equipment. The first production Lot 1 SAT, F-16C, 86-0233, F-007, was delivered on March 11, 2015 to Tyndall Air Force Base. It was previously operated by the Michigan Air National Guard's 107th Fighter Squadron, 127th Wing and then stored at the 309th AMARG before being moved to Cecil Field in April 2013 for F-16 configuring. On July 19, 2017, the first F-16 was shot down during a Combat Archer Weapons System Evaluation Program, WSEP, exercise. In 2017, a F-16 was used as a UCAV, autonomously attacking a ground target as a part of the Loyal Wingman program. The Air Force ran this exercise under the name HAV Raider 2. F-21. Lockheed Martin unveiled the F-21 concept at the Aero India Air Show on February 20, 2019. The F-21 combines the F-16 Volts Block 7072 configuration with a single-panel cockpit, avionics resembling the F-35's integrated cockpit display, a triple-rail AIM-120 launcher, and integrated probe and drogue conformal fuel tanks from the former F-16 The F-21 is Lockheed Martin's latest proposal for India's $15 billion tender for a domestically produced fighter. Lockheed Martin had previously proposed the F-16. The F-21 would be built in collaboration with Tata Advanced Systems. Derivative fighters. The performance and flexibility of the F-16 has been an important and visible influence on aircraft development programs of three nations seeking to advance the design and manufacturing skills of their indigenous aerospace industries. These programs have partnered with Lockheed Martin to develop airframes that, while not officially designated F-16s, share design elements and a development path with the F-16. 1. 8th FCK-1A/B Ching Kuo Indigenous Defense Fighter, IDF. Main article, 8th FCK-1 Ching Kuo. Due to U.S. refusal to supply the Republic of China, Taiwan, with either the F-1679 or F-20, the Republic of China government tasked its Aerospace Industrial Development Corporation, AIDC, to develop an indigenous fighter. Preliminary design studies began in 1980, and the Indigenous Defense Fighter, IDF, program was launched 2 years later. Since Taiwanese industry had not developed a sophisticated fighter before, AID sought design and development assistance from General Dynamics and other major American aerospace companies. With such assistance, a design was finalized in 1985. The IDF design is by no means a copy of the F-16, but it was clearly influenced by the F-16, such as the layout of control surfaces, yet it also features design elements from the F-5, like its twin-engine configuration. In December 1988, the IDF aircraft was designated FCK-1 and named after the late President Chiang Ching-kuo. The first of 4 prototypes, 3 single-seat and 1 twin-seat, flew on May 28, 1989. A total of 130 Ching-kuo fighters, 102 FCK-1A single-seaters and 28 FCK-1B two-seaters, were delivered from 1994 to 2000. 2. Mitsubishi F-2A/B, FSX/TFSX. Main article, Mitsubishi F-2. In 1982, Japan's Technical Research and Development Institute, TRDI, initiated studies of options for an indigenous fighter designed to replace the Mitsubishi F-1 strike fighter. This initiative would later be designated FSX, Fighter Support Experimental. The two-seat trainer version was originally designated TFSX, determining that an entirely indigenous development effort would be cost-prohibitive. The Defense Agency, JDA, sought an off-the-shelf fighter for its FSX requirement, but none proved entirely acceptable. As a result, the JDA sought a co-development program based on a variant of an existing fighter type, and on October 21, 1987 announced its selection of a modified version of the F-16C/D based on General Dynamics' Agile Falcon concept. The FSX is larger and heavier than the F-16, has a greater wing area, and is mainly fitted with Japanese-developed avionics and equipment. The program was launched a year later and the first of 4 XF-2A/B prototypes flew on October 7, 1995. The Japanese cabinet authorized production on December 15, 1995, with the designation F-2A/B being allocated to the single and two-seat models, respectively. First flight of an F-2A occurred on October 12, 1999, and production aircraft deliveries began on September 25, 2000. Originally, 141 F-2A/B, 83 F-2A and 58 F-2B, were planned, but only 130, 8347 F-2A/B, were approved in 1995, due to high costs. In December 2004, the total was capped at 98 aircraft, and in early 2007 this was reduced to 94. 3. Kai FA-50 Golden Eagle, KTX-2. Main article, T-50 Golden Eagle. Building on its licensed manufacture of KF-16s, in 1992 Samsung Aerospace began work on designing a tandem-seat, supersonic, combat-capable jet trainer to replace the BA Hawk 67, Northrop T-38 Talon, A-37 Dragonfly, and eventually F-4 Phantom II and F-5E/F Tiger II operated by the Republic of Korea Air Force, ROKOF. Samsung worked closely with Lockheed and the basic KTX-2 design had been laid out by 1995. At this point the aerospace units of Samsung, Daewoo and Hyundai were combined to form Korea Aerospace Industries, KAI, to ensure sufficient industrial critical mass existed to successfully develop the KTX-2. The T-50 resembles an 80% scale F-16, but has a number of differences, not least being the fact that it has an engine air intake under each wing root, instead of a single underbelly intake, as well as a leading edge extension more similar to that on the FA-18 Hornet. The South Korean government gave its approval on July 3, 1997, and full-scale development work got underway in October. In February 2000, the KTX-2 was designated the T-50 Golden Eagle, and the first of two T-50 flight test prototypes flew on August 20, 2002, the maiden flight of the first of two T-50 lead-in fighter trainer, LIFT, prototypes, designated A-50 by the ROKOF and capable of combat, followed on August 29, 2003. The ROKOF plans to acquire T-50 advanced trainers, T-50B aerobatic demonstrators, TA-50 lift/light attack aircraft, and FA-50 multi-role fighters. Its first production contract, for 25 T-50s, was placed in December 2003 and the first pair of T-50 aircraft was delivered December 29, 2005, with the type entering operational service in April 2007. In December 2006, the ROKOF placed a second production contract for T-50, T-50B, and TA-50 variants. The development of the FA-50 to replace the remaining old fighters is ongoing as of 2010. Thanks for watching Universal Information and Entertainment TV. Please like and subscribe our channel for more updated videos, news, information and entertainment. See you in next video. Stay tuned.